Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. Please enjoy this video on the Political Voices Network.
Hello, Steph. I am still going through the huge stack of legal rulings that have come in like the last 24 to 48 hours.
Right.
Thank you.
It's been like justice whiplash here.
Yeah. So let's start with the latest, obviously, in case you've just tuned in. I've already gotten all my swears out. Thank God my bleep button is still working. So the judge says either Fani Willis or Nathan Wade have to remove themselves. He did not disqualify her, but said she has to either remove herself or him to move forward. I can't even explain the level of rage I feel about the implication that apparently black people need adult supervision for a consensual relationship. Because it reminded me of the Robert Hur report. You give me your take, Glenn. But just that he found there was no conflict of interest. But it just, I don't know, he didn't like it. It just made him oogie. He didn't like the appearance. And so, can you explain this to me legally here? I guess it's good news on one front, right?
Yeah, and don't let me forget about the Hur report. But starting down in Georgia, a few days ago, Judge McAfee decided he had to dismiss 3 of the charges against Trump. When you read through his order, it was actually supported by the case law down in Georgia. And he said, look, this is not fatal. They can just go back into the grand jury and re-indict to correct these technical deficiencies. And I thought, that is a pretty well-reasoned, measured ruling by Judge McAfee. This one is curious. So the good news is Fani Willis and her team can remain on the case.
Right.
And that, for consistency reasons, that's really important. Now it comes with a caveat. She has to get rid of Nathan Wade, and setting aside the rationale behind that.
Yeah.
That's not fatal to the prosecution. It probably will not even impact the prosecution moving forward. That's also a good thing. I see what Judge McAfee was trying to do, kind of be all things to all people, give everybody a little something to like, but I think he may have ended up giving everybody something to dislike, because some of the inflammatory rhetoric, now I haven't absorbed the whole 23-page ruling because I literally just printed it out, tried to hit some top lines, but some of the inflammatory rhetoric will give Donald Trump and his gullible supporters so much ammunition to continue to go after D.A. Willis, and frankly, Steph, make things even more dangerous for Willis, for her prosecutors. Judge McAfee has now put himself in harm's way, I'm sorry to say, because that's the way Donald Trump responds to any perceived threat, anybody who's involved in the endeavor to hold him accountable for his crimes. So this is one that I want to take some time to absorb. I think the good news, top line takeaway, is D.A. Willis and her team, with the exception of Nathan Wade, can continue to prosecute Donald Trump for his democracy-busting crimes down in Georgia.
Yeah. And plus I don't know why I'm hearing Frau Blucher in my head. He was her boyfriend. They're not even.
He was not boyfriend anymore.
No, not anymore.
No.
He was my boyfriend!
Okay, I just needed a little bit of levity. I'm sorry, because I'm pissed. So give us a timeline on that, though, because I did say, when you come for the queen, you best not miss. So now you've missed, and you've made her mad, and you've gotten up in her panties, as Frangela would say. So now what happens? What's the time frame in Georgia?
So I think the answer is we don't know. But listen, whereas the D.C. prosecution against Donald Trump, built by Jack Smith, is made for speed, the RICO prosecution in Georgia is designed to be a comprehensive vehicle to hold everyone accountable who violated Georgia state election laws. That is a marathon and then some. This case will be tried well into 2025, maybe even 2026. And that's fine. I've tried these great big unwieldy RICO cases. They take a long time. We were investigating and prosecuting RICO case, one massive RICO case in D.C. for the better part of 8 or 9 years, Steph. So, this one will be ongoing for a very long time. And I'm glad to hear that Fani Willis and her team will remain, hard at work on it.
I don't even know what specificity means in regards to this, but is she going to refile? You had tweeted this development that dismissing 3 charges is not a good look for the prosecution, but can and likely will be remedied. So do you think she does refile?
I don't see
charges?
Why not. Because as I say, there's nothing but time down in Georgia. Nobody expects that case against Trump to be tried before the November election. And in footnote 8, Judge McAfee said, listen, I'm giving y'all 6 additional months to go back into the grand jury and reindict if you want to. So, we're on a slow track down there, but eventually that train will pull into the station and Trump will be convicted.
Okay, let's moonwalk back to the bombshell before that bombshell, and that is, the election interference hush money case. Jen Taub tweeted, I have stayed angry that Garland let the statute of limitations run in the first place. Is it crazy to imagine, Neston, why prosecutors want Bragg to lose the case to make themselves and Garland look better? And George Conway retweeted that and said, DOJ should have prosecuted Trump for federal campaign finance law violations 3 years ago. Andrew Weissman, your friend, said, what on God's green earth with the Southern District federal prosecutors thinking and turning this over so late? If I'm the Manhattan DA, himself a former SDNY prosecutor, I am livid. Can you break down for us what the F is happening in New York?
No, I can't answer inexplicable questions. I don't understand why the Department of Justice never went after Donald Trump when they could have and they should have. They went after his co-conspirator, Michael Cohen, and they decided to give the bigger criminal fish a pass. And now what they have done, and I'm not going to say that they had any bad intentions, but for whatever reason, federal prosecutors in New York gave over a whole bunch of documents, some of which are relevant to Alvin Bragg's New York prosecution of Donald Trump. And they gave them over way, way, way late, such that now it's resulting in a delay of the Manhattan trial against Donald Trump. Steph, I can't explain any of that. I am not going to say it's a calculation by New York federal prosecutors to try to undermine Bragg's prosecution. I can't bring myself to believe that. What I do believe, though, is the Department of Justice continues to let the American people down by, dithering away our democracy when, we finally have a high government official or government aide, Peter Navarro, going to prison. But Steph, guess what? He's only going to prison for lying to Congress. Who's the victim in that case? Congress. Right. The charge is contempt of Congress. We, the people, the voters, are victims. We've got nothing. We've got nothing from any of the higher ups, the suits of the insurrection. We've got nothing. DOJ has dithered this away, and I don't have an explanation for it.
Yeah. I mean, and meanwhile, somebody was saying all you had to do was show up and take the fifth. I mean, I guess it's a sliver of. I'll take any sliver of justice I can get, Glenn, that he's going to prison. But, so should a lot of other people. I mean, to your point, why did Michael Cohen go to prison, right? And what is going on with this? And I don't know if you saw this note from Rudy Giuliani to Lev Parnas. Why is he in prison and Rudy Giuliani isn't? I mean, it's talk about two systems of justice, right?
There's a pattern emerging here, right? The lesser people, and I don't subscribe to there being lesser people and greater people, but the people who have no power, no influence, no wealth, no connections, no political clout, they go to prison. And the folks above them who are orchestrating the crimes are playing golf, attending dinner parties, and throwing fundraisers. Steph, we're living in the upside down, justice world.
Yeah.
We just are.
Well, when I heard this first yesterday, I thought, well, here's part of the problem, as in this avalanche, literally, of criminality of Donald Trump. Because I thought, okay, well, I guess the good news is this is even more evidence. Like, remember how we kept saying, like, could he stop committing crimes so we can prosecute him for one? Because it's more evidence, right? Like you're saying, they're delivered really late, but it's even more evidence of his criminality. So, I know our friend Dino Badala said, I still think the New York criminal trial is going to happen before the election. But obviously this delay inexcusable. What do you think? This means right now, did he say 60 days? He's agreed to 30 days?
The delay, the headline hit me like a gut punch because the headline was New York prosecutors asked for a 30-day delay in the March 25th trial. But then when you read the motion, Trump's team had asked for a 90-day delay because they subpoenaed a bunch of documents from the Department of Justice. Alvin Bragg's office also got some documents from the Department of Justice that they promptly gave to Donald Trump because that's the right thing to do so he could, prepare for trial. And they said, listen, we'll ask for a 30-day delay, even though they're asking for a 90-day delay, because we think 30 days will give the defense enough time to get up to speed and absorb these new documents. So it's not as dramatic as the headline made it sound. But, I feel like justice is dying the death of 1,000 trial continuances over and over and over again in multiple jurisdictions.
Oh, did you set me up for Eileen Cannon? See, we're getting to be like a great road show. You're going to join us for a bunch of sexy liberals. Eileen Cannon, I mean, again, I guess, the first headline, Judge Cannon just denied Trump's motion to dismiss the classified documents case based on unconstitutional vagueness. Well, okay, it's a win, but as someone said, is Jack Smith winning the what's the saying? I'm tired.
What?
The day, but not the war. Just because, she and
Battle.
the Supreme Court are kicking the can down the road once again, aren't they? So, I mean, the good news is she finally found an argument of Donald Trump's that's even too ridiculous for her, right?
Yeah, but it's really not ridiculous enough for her. I'm holding in my hand. I sound like Karnak. No, I am holding in my hand the last envelope.
Put it up to your forehead. There you go.
Hermetically sealed on Funkin' Wagnall's porch since noon yesterday. So, where's Ed McMahon? I need Ed McMahon.
Right.
So look at this thing. This is a page and a half this is Judge Cannon's entire ruling on the question of whether the Espionage Act, with which Donald Trump has been charged with violating 32 times over. The Espionage Act, which has been on the federal books since 1917, the Espionage Act that has been used to prosecute Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, Aldrich Ames, Robert Hansen, John Walker, and has withstood every legal challenge. You know what she says? She's like, well, I'm going to deny this motion for the moment, but I'm going to urge Donald Trump to rebring the motion during the trial when we're talking about jury selection. Do you know why that's so dangerous, Steph? Because the fact that she denied it now, temporarily, without prejudice, but urged him to bring it up again later, this means, one, Jack Smith can't appeal this because he won. If he could appeal it, if she had granted it, she would have been reversed on appeal, and she probably would have been removed from the case, forced to recuse. So what she did, Steph, this is what people need to know. The fact that she did the motion now but urged him to bring it up again during the trial, do you know what that means? If he brings it up, when he brings it up during the trial, if she grants it, that will not be, that will then kill the case, and it will prevent Donald Trump from being retried because of double jeopardy. Jeopardy doesn't attach until the jury is in the jury box. She has orchestrated a later dismissal that will work to Donald Trump's extreme advantage if that's what she's intending to do. And Steph, there's not a single case, there's not a single precedent that she cited in this page and a half. This is judicial word salad. This is shallow analysis. It's no analysis. I've not seen anything like this in my 30 years as a prosecutor.
Yeah. Well, and everybody keeps saying, is it her, inexperience or malfeasance or both? It's hard to say.
She's incompetent. She's made it clear by this motion that she's incompetent. I don't know if she's corrupt and compromised. She's clearly proved she's incompetent.